Hi geeks, welcome to my channel. Today we're shopping at Trader Joe's. This is part 2 of Pumpkin Palooza 2024. Make sure to check out part 1 also to get a comprehensive overview of all the pumpkin arrivals this year. Pumpkin items are still rolling in every day, so let's go check them out and see what there is to buy this week. The mini pumpkin trees are back. They are so adorable. You can get 5 stems for $6.99. I have to show you my favorite fall vegetable, Delicata Squash, for $1.49 each. I've mentioned this before in other videos, but if you haven't tried it yet, let this be your reminder to do so. And if you can't be bothered to cut them up yourself and de-seed them, then you can buy some that's already pre-sliced and prepped for you. You can get a 20-ounce bag for $3.99. And taking a quick moment here to show you guys how I prepare it, it's super easy. I wash the skin, then I cut it in half, scrape out the seeds, and then I cut it up into slices. I place them on parchment paper, spray a little avocado oil on it, and sprinkle a little salt. Then I pop them into the oven at 400 degrees for about 40 minutes or so, or until I see the edges brown and caramelize, and they are ready to eat. And you can also eat the skin, which is also really good because the edges get a little crispy. They taste just like sweet roasted chestnuts, but in squash form, and if you want even more warm, cozy fall vibes, you can sprinkle some cinnamon on top of it after they're done roasting. Last year, I also roasted some fresh cranberries with it, and it gave it a nice tart contrast to the sweet squash. Highly recommend giving it a try. The turkey harvest salad is back. This includes cubes of sweet potatoes, turkey breast meat, Brussels sprouts, sweetened dried cranberries, sunflower seeds, kale, spinach, romaine lettuce, and it comes with a packet of apple cider vinaigrette. I've tried this before and this was really good. Just a note though, these sweet potatoes come a little undercooked, and I think they do that so that it's not pure mush by the time we eat it, and this is $5.99. Butternut squash and caramelized onion tart is also back. This looks delicious and the reviews last year were really good. You can have this as a side to a salad or soup. I would love to try it, but it's just a little too pricey for me at $9.99. My apologies guys, I forgot to share the new pumpkin spice mini sheet cake with all the Instagram drama that happened, but better late than never. Here she is in all her glory. This is a moist pumpkin spice cake with cream cheese frosting, 310 calories for 1/6 of a cake, 16 grams of fat, 60 milligrams of cholesterol, 310 milligrams of sodium, 38 grams of net carbs, 29 grams of sugar, and 3 grams of protein. These seasonal sheet cakes tend to go fast, so if you want to try it, if you see it, just grab it. I'll be reviewing this at the end of the video for those that want to take a closer look at it, and this is $5.49. Pumpkin Blondie brownies are back. A lot of people think these are just mediocre, but I love them and buy a pack every year. They include pecans and white chocolate chips in it, so there's lots of fun bits inside to chew on, and then it's topped off with a drizzle of icing. More thoughts on this later, so stay tuned for my review at the end of the video, and this is $4.49. If you guys aren't big on pumpkin, you could still join in on the fun with the chocolate mousse pumpkins. These are a fall classic and they're not pumpkin flavored whatsoever, but they do come in the cute shape of them. These are mini chocolate cakes layered with chocolate mousse, and they come out with a different shape of these mousse cakes every season. You get 6 pieces for $3.99. There's also a new pumpkin loaf with a spiced sugar topping. This is a wheat flour based loaf made with pumpkin puree, cinnamon, nutmeg, allspice, ginger, and cloves with notes of vanilla, and topped with a crunchy layer of sugar and generously dusted with aromatic fall spices. There is canola oil and preservatives in it. From the reviews I've heard, this isn't too sweet and on the drier side, maybe because they use wheat flour, but this could be remedied by spritzing a little water on it and warming it up, or you can add pumpkin cream cheese or a little butter to it for $4.99. Pumpkin caramel Danish kringle is back. These crinkles are so good. I haven't tried this flavor, but I can imagine it's up there with the other kringles. Also, these freeze really well, so you can cut it up into little squares, put it in a Ziploc bag, and pop one out when you want a pastry. This is $9.99. Pumpkin spice Madeleine cookies have returned. They offer the plain regular ones year round, but as far as flavored ones go, I think there's only 2 flavors throughout the year, which are lemon and pumpkin spice. These are called cookies, but they actually taste more like cake or bread, and I always regret not picking up a pack when I see it. I always feel like they're going to be dried out, but surprisingly they never are. You get 5 cookies for $3.29. Pumpkin bagels are back. This is made with pumpkin flour milled from fresh pumpkins to make sure the pumpkin flavor is pronounced, and of course they added in the 3 usual spices, cinnamon, nutmeg, and ginger. 240 calories per bagel, which is on the lower end for most bagels I've seen. 220 milligrams of sodium and 8 grams of sugar coming from cane sugar and brown sugar, and surprisingly this has 8 grams of protein, green, which I wasn't expecting to see, and this is $2.99. Gluten-free pumpkin bagels are also back. This took a little while to make it to my local area, but they are here now. This is actually 40 calories more than the regular pumpkin bagels and also $2 more. You get 4 bagels in a sleeve for $4.99. Let us know what your favorite pumpkin item is, because a lot of people say the pumpkin brioche twist is theirs. This is a buttery moist bread with a pumpkin tinge and has a swirl of pumpkin pie spices of cinnamon, ginger, and nutmeg throughout the bread. A lot of people say the pumpkin flavor is pretty mild. Everyone loves making French toast with this, and you can add a little maple butter on top or stuff it with the pumpkin cream cheese. It's here for a limited time for $4.99. And here's a sneak peek of a new item to look out for: sourdough bowls. Great option to have for soup season. You get 2 pieces for $2.99. Pumpkin waffles, another fall breakfast option to choose from. I think I tried this years ago and don't remember if it had a strong pumpkin spice flavor. So if you guys try it this year, please let us know if this has a decent pumpkin spice or does it just have a mellow pumpkin flavor, which is what I would prefer. 8 waffles in a box for $2.79. Pumpkin cheesecake croissants are back. Do not sleep on these if you love croissants and pumpkin pie. The cheesecake filling tastes more like a creamy pumpkin pie filling than a cheesecake, which some people were disappointed with, but I really enjoyed it. It's not overly sweet, which I love, so it doesn't taste too dessert-like. It has 11 grams of sugar in it, which is actually less than even the Pumpkin O's cereal, which I'll be reviewing later in the video, by the way. You get 2 croissants for $4.49. Mini spicy pumpkin samosas. This has a spiced pumpkin and paneer cheese filling wrapped in a crispy, flaky pastry. You can pair this with this sweet Thai chili sauce or have it with the hot and sweet pepper jelly. Or if you want to go the savory route, you can pair this with sour cream or tzatziki sauce. 12 pieces in a box for $4.29. Butternut squash mac and cheese bites are back. This is the iconic butternut squash mac and cheese covered in breadcrumbs. Another quick appetizer option you don't have to think about. You can pair this with a marinara sauce or just have it plain. You get about 10 or 11 pieces for $3.99. Mashed sweet potatoes are a fall seasonal item, so stock up for the fall and winter. Only contains 1 ingredient with no fillers. They have already been peeled, cooked, and mashed for you and come in the shape of small pucks instead of one big clump, making it easier to thaw and cook down for $2.99. Pumpkin spice pumpkin seeds always make it back every fall. This is a great addition to so many items. You can add it as a topping for yogurt or ice cream, or you can sprinkle some on top of your pumpkin bread, pumpkin muffins, spice cake, pumpkin cookies, pancakes, French toast. The list goes on, and these are $3.99. Pumpkin tortilla chips are also back. These are tortilla chips with pumpkin puree, pumpkin seeds, cinnamon, and nutmeg. These used to be one of my fall staples every year, but last year I felt like they tasted different. They used to have a mild sweetness to it, which I loved, but last year the sweetness was completely gone and it tasted just like regular savory tortilla chips. It has 0 grams of sugar, so I'm assuming it's going to be savory again, and this is $2.49. And I would always pair those pumpkin tortilla chips with the fall harvest salsa. This salsa is a fall melange of fruits and veggies, including pumpkins, apples, and butternut squash, so it's more of a sweet salsa. All the ingredients look good, but of course natural flavors still got in there. Don't forget to refrigerate after opening, and this is $3.49 a jar. If you enjoy a sweet, salty, crunchy snack, then you might want to try these pumpkin teeny tiny pretzels. The pretzels are covered in a sweet pumpkin spice infused yogurt coating and then dotted with pumpkin spice pumpkin seeds, and these were today's sample. I actually like these more than I thought I would. The pumpkin spice is prominent, but the yogurt coating mutes it a bit and balances it out. This is very sweet though. I was super tempted to get it, but as I say about all the seasonal teeny tiny pretzels, the pretzels almost always taste stale to me, which makes it easy for me to pass on because there's so many other treats to choose from this time of year. This does contain soybean oil and a bag is $3.49. The baton cookies are always a fun treat to eat. This one contains soft, sweet pumpkin flavored cream spiced with cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger, and clove powders. Each baton is 6 to 7 inches long, and you can add this to an ice cream parfait or pair it with your pumpkin spice coffee. 1 can is $2.29. Pumpkin ginger mini hold it cones are back. You get 8 mini ginger cones with pumpkin ice cream coated in white chocolate. I know a lot of people love these and I do too, but the white chocolate coating makes it a little too sweet for me, but they are delicious. I did stop buying these mini cones because somehow every box I pick always ends up having soft cones. Moisture somehow gets into them, maybe during transport when they melt a little bit. A box is $3.99. Pumpkin Greek non-fat yogurt is also back. One of you pointed out last year that this contains cornstarch, which I never noticed before. I assumed it's used to thicken it up. This has 17 grams of sugar though, so I stopped buying it. I really like the flavor on this one because the pumpkin spices aren't strong and it just tastes like a mellow pumpkin flavor, which is nice. But this has 17 grams of sugar in it, so I stopped buying it, and this is 99 cents. Pumpkin O's are also back for $2.99 a box, and I'll be sharing my thoughts on this at the end of the video. You can pair the Pumpkin O's with the non-dairy pumpkin oat beverage if you want to double down on the pumpkin flavor. This always sounds so delicious to me, and every year I'm reminded that this has canola oil and natural flavors in it, and I always end up putting it back on the shelf for $2.99. Pecan pumpkin oatmeal comes back every fall, a quick, convenient breakfast option for those that don't want to make their own. This has 14 grams of sugar and does contain caramel color and natural flavor. You get 8 packets for $3.79. Even Bear Bells is jumping on the Pumpkin Palooza wagon and came out with a pumpkin spice flavor. I've heard a lot of reviews and people have said the pumpkin spice is very mild and pretty much just tastes like a regular chocolate Bear Bell protein bar, and this is $2.29. There's also another protein bar that has cleaner ingredients. This is a seasonal pumpkin flavor for Perfect bars, which usually have a peanut butter base and can be found in the refrigerated section. This has 14 grams of protein and made with organic whole foods, which is so refreshing to see, and this also goes for $2.29. All the fall spices are stocked on the shelves, from ground nutmeg for $2.99 to pumpkin pie spice for $2.99 and cinnamon sticks also for $2.99. Pumpkin body scrub with exfoliating brown sugar has also returned, and I found a tester, so I wanted to show you guys what it looks like inside. It looks very thick and smooth, and this is $6.99. And after you exfoliate with the scrub, you can follow it up with the pumpkin body butter or use the new pumpkin ultra moisturizing hand cream. This includes shea butter and pumpkin extract, coconut oil. This has a mild pumpkin scent and is $4.99. The viral mini canvas tote bags came and went again in a flash. In Southern California, there was a limit of 2 bags per customer, and they were again sold out within minutes of the store opening. On the East Coast though, there was a limit of 4 bags, and my sister's store, which is never stocked by the way with new items, actually had them, so she was actually able to buy some. That's it for shopping this week. Let's get into this week's Trader Joe's haul and reviews. I wanted to grab a bag of nectarines before they are gone for the season. I've been pairing it with the mozzarella cheese, which I also needed more of. I love that these come in individual pouches so that I don't have to open it all at once and worry about finishing it all before it spoils. Anyway, I've been on a kick with adding mozzarella to salads with arugula, grape tomatoes. Here I also have cubes of sugar melon, which is just a very sweet cantaloupe, and drizzled some olive oil and balsamic vinegar. I like making a big plate of veggies, fresh and roasted, and eating it before my main dish, which today was some pasta with Rayo's sauce with grass-fed beef and grilled mushrooms. Finally getting to review the pumpkin cake for you. This is a pumpkin spice cake with a thick sheet of cream cheese icing on top. I like that there's no designs on it because you can really get creative with it by decorating it with sprinkles. I've seen some people buy multiple cakes and stack them on top of each other to make a layered cake. So I didn't have it right away and actually put it straight into my fridge after my haul because I wasn't going to have it immediately, and took it out the next day to share with friends. I let it sit on the counter for a couple hours and it was still moist and soft. The pumpkin cake wasn't overly spiced, which I personally prefer. The cake tasted very similar to pumpkin bread and had the perfect amount of sweetness. There was a thick layer of cream cheese icing, which was really sweet and overpowered the flavor of the pumpkin cake. It wasn't bad, but it just tasted a little basic. I've definitely had better cream cheese frosting before, but I mean, this is a mass-produced item, so we kind of have to take that into account. With that said, it still worked and I really enjoyed it. It was a hit with my friends also, and I would repurchase it. I always look forward every year to getting the pumpkin Blondie brownies. In previous years, this tasted pretty much like pumpkin bread with some fun little extras in it with pecans and white chocolate chips, but this year they were a little on the wet side and tasted significantly sweeter than I remembered, almost to the point where it was distracting. This was definitely sweeter than the cake part of the pumpkin sheet cake, and as far as pumpkin spices go, it was more spicy than the cake. I'm struggling to finish it this year because it's so sweet, so I've been mashing it up into my Greek yogurt and making it into a dessert at the end of the night. So that goes to show you that some years items are better than others and sometimes they get worse, and that could be due to a lot of different variables, like the recipe being slightly modified or having a different supplier. Overall, these were just okay. Semi-sweet chocolate chunks are a seasonal item, so I wanted to grab a bag just in case I get inspired to bake some cookies, and also picked up a bag for a friend who I know likes this and has asked me about it. I was in the mood for cereal and thought I'd give Pumpkin O's a try this year. It's vegan and gluten-free. I was focused more on checking it out if this had trisodium phosphate in it as part of the ingredients, that I didn't even realize it had rice flour in it, which gives it an entirely different texture than if it were just straight oats, so it was more airy and porous. Also, it tasted a little stale, which tends to happen occasionally with gluten-free items, not because it's actually stale, but more so due to the combination and texture of the ingredients. It had a nice pumpkin spice flavor, which wasn't too spicy, but what stood out the most to me was how incredibly sweet this was. It's even sweeter than the Blondie, which is 10 grams of sugar, and this is 12 grams of sugar per serving. I think I'll need to add nuts or something to try to mute down the sweetness, or if you guys have any suggestions, please let me know how to cut down the sweetness. On to another first, trying the new apple shortbread cookies. I was going to pass on this, but so many of the reviews were so good that I got FOMO. It comes in a small box, so it's fairly easy to miss in the store. The cookies come in this cute little tray and would be perfect to put out if you have a friend over. The cookies are just darling and have an apple imprinted in the cookie. This had a prominent apple flavor, probably due to the apple juice concentrate. It's sweet but also tart, which I wasn't expecting at all. The butter flavor is mild and can be tasted towards the end, but honestly, it gets drowned out by the apple flavor. The cookie is thin but solid. It was crunchy and on the harder side, similar to a biscotti. It was really unique and almost tasted like a sweet and tart apple candy in the form of a cookie. I enjoyed it as a fun one-time novelty buy and wouldn't be opposed to repurchasing it, but with so many seasonal items out right now, it probably won't make it back into the rotation. Had to pick up the maple butter because I've been holding on to the last of my old maple butter. This came in a different shaped container and actually was 2.5 ounces bigger than the new jar, but it's still the same price at $4.99. And then another fall staple I get every year is the Fall Harvest Salsa. This is another unique item because it has a little chunks of apples in it and also includes pumpkin and butternut squash. This is probably one of the most fall tasting items at Trader Joe's. It's on the sweeter side and I used to pair this with the pumpkin tortilla chips. I had to pick up another box of the pumpkin bread and muffin mix. This is so easy to make and really is probably in my top 10 items I would recommend to get for a fall item because it's that good. All you need are 2 eggs, some oil, and water. You can eat this on its own or pair this with a little bit of pumpkin cream cheese, pumpkin spread, or pumpkin butter. My favorite way is just eating it plain because I'm a purist, but out of the 3 spreads, if I had to choose, I actually like the pumpkin butter the most, which was surprising. I was so excited to see the maple and sea salt kettle corn make its way back this year, so I immediately grabbed one. This is so addicting that I really have to portion control this out or I end up eating half the bag in one sitting. It's light and crispy and sweet and has the perfect amount of saltiness. You get a mix of lightly or barely coated pieces, and then there's one that are more coated and crispy and sweet. The maple flavor is there, but understated. Definitely worth trying if you have a sweet tooth. I love these brown tomatoes called Kumado. They are usually sweet, but in recent years, I feel like they aren't as sweet anymore. I wanted to have this with mozzarella and basil and make a caprese salad and thought I'd add some olives also to the salad. I love that these come in little packs, especially because it takes me a while to finish a jar by myself because half the time I forget I even have them in the fridge. Usually I try to stay away from dips and have my crudité plate plain, but I love this artichoke and jalapeno dip because it has big chunks of artichokes in it, and sometimes I have guests over, so it's just an easy thing to pull out and have on hand, and always get bananas. Ending on another sweet note, wanted to share a seasonal item at one of my favorite local bakeries that is now selling individual mini pumpkin pies. I got this last year but forgot how it tasted, so for good measure I thought I'd give it a try. Pumpkin pies always taste slightly different, so it's always fun to compare and see how they taste. The filling was very soft and smooth and tasted very pumpkin forward and wasn't overpowered by the spices, which were on the mild side. It tasted very homemade, which I appreciated, but the flavor wasn't my favorite, surprisingly. But the pie crust was totally insane and stole the show. It was so buttery and crispy, almost borderline shortbread cookie-like, and this was after I refrigerated it and ate it the next day, which is really impressive. If you're in Southern California, definitely give the mini pumpkin pie a try at Porter's. Okay, that's it for this week. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, follow me on Instagram and TikTok, and until the next video, ciao guys!